Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth in sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of quick and important information being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Dollar Dominance Coming to an End by Jim Rogers, or a statement made by Jim Rogers. Now, this is an article that was uploaded from RussiaToday.com, as you see up here. And there's been a lot happening concerning the hegemony of the United States Federal Reserve being the reserve currency of the globe. Excuse me. There's been a lot of controversy behind it. There's been a lot of conspiracies behind it. And ultimately, we know that the dollar is in the state that it is in because it is systematically being crashed. Okay? The dollar is systematically being devalued, and it is systematically being crashed. And who is it being crashed by? Well, the idea comes from the so-called elites, which leads me to Micah chapter 2 verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, for it is in the power of their hands. So, when you see that term, it is in the power of their hands, you have to think about that statement. Who's in power? Who has the power to commit iniquity? Who has the power to commit murder and robbery and rape and theft and completely get away with it without spending time in prison or without having to worry about persecution? Who's able to do these things and get away with it? The so-called elites, who call themselves Rothschilds, Rockefellers. Okay? These people, they are the ones who are responsible for this dollar crashing systematically and being devalued on purpose. They are responsible for that. And now you might ask, why would they do that when this is their rulership? Well, the answer is simple. Because they have an agenda called the New World Order. And the New World Order isn't just about, complete control over the people. It's not just about, heaping all the world's resources, food and water and necessities to themselves and being able to ration it out to people that need it. It's also about a transition of how you buy and sell. And in the so-called elites' New World Order, they do not want people to buy and sell with cash or with coins or with gold or silver or with credit cards. or with debit cards or with pay cards or with their phone. They want to transition. They want the way of buying and selling to be transitioned from physical so-called money, which is the petrodollars we use now, to being digital. They want money to be digitized, which is why countries are slowly transitioning from cash to electronical way of making payments. This is why, especially in Ukraine, which is damn near a cashless society, you can't just buy in cash down there. You need some kind of electrical way of being able to make payments, whether if it's through credit cards, whether if it's through debit cards, whether if it's through phones, whether if it's through PayPal, whatever. And China is nearly in that same fashion as well. China is nearly in that same fashion as well of becoming a cashless society. And we know, well, not know, but Japan is more than likely behind China in becoming a cashless society. And America is definitely on that list of becoming a cashless society. That's why the so-called elites have been purposely, crashing these different banks, with the most latest major bank, going through a bank failure. We heard about that last month, and there was a panic going on. People was wondering if they was going to be able to get their money out the bank, and et cetera, et cetera. And all this is purposely being done to what? To do away with cash, and to transition the way of buying and selling from being physical to being digital. And that's where the MOTB comes in. That's where the mark of the beast comes in. Because eventually people won't be able to use credit cards anymore. Because, if you notice, right, every credit card has an expiration date on it. Well, what if your credit card expired, right, and then you went to go issue a new one, and they told you that you couldn't get a new credit card, but if you wanted to continue to use your money that was in the bank, you wouldn't be able to withdraw your money either. You see, they're not going to crash every single bank. These banks are going to be more like, what's the term I'm looking for? Digital currency towers. I know that was kind of a wild phrase, but yeah, digital currency towers. Basically, banks will be like a way for you to store your digital money, and that if you wanted to withdraw that money, you wouldn't have to go there physically, right? Because if your money is on a CHIP, if your money was on a CHIP, right, you'd be able to make payments without having to physically go to a bank to withdraw money. You wouldn't be able to withdraw money anyway. So let's just say, your credit card expired, right? And you're unable to withdraw money from the bank. Well, they can be like, if you want to continue to use your funds, which are in the bank, you can be more than welcome to take this charagma. You can be more than welcome to take this CHIP in order to be able to continue to enjoy the funds you have in your bank account. So we can see where all this is going. And it's no coincidence that the dollar dominance is coming to an end. And it's purposely being done this way because there's an agenda behind it. There's a device behind it. There's a scheme and a grand of things behind it. And the whole purpose behind devaluating the dollar and crashing these different currencies is ultimately to go from the transitioning of physically using physical money to make purchases, to sell, to trade, to deal with stocks, etc., to transitioning from physical money to the transitioning of digital money. Because once things start going digital, then it's going to go from what? Credit cards, it's going to go from bank cards, it's going to go from debit cards, it's going to go from prepaid cards, work cards, to all of your money, your funds, your transactions being on a device the size of a grain of rice, which is the CHIP, which is the MOTB. So, U.S. policies and mounting concerns over credit worthiness are dragging down the greenback, the investor says. And remember, the so-called elites, they are the ones responsible for the devaluation and the crashing of the financial system. The U.S. dollar is losing its leading global position as Washington has become the world's largest debtor, famed investor Jim Rogers told the Sputnik News Agency on Wednesday. Now, up here, you notice how it says the US dollar is losing its leading global position, right? So what happens if the United States dollar loses its hegemony as the reserved world currency? No matter what the world reserve currency, excuse me, I misread that. No matter the world reserve currency, so, right here, right? And I also typed it in up here on Google, okay? So up here in Google, I typed in, what happens when the United States dollar is no longer the reserved currency, right? The reserve currency. And this is the answer I got, which the answer came from this website right here. What happens if the United States loses its world reserve currency, which the United States dollar is the world reserve currency, right? So it says, no matter the world reserve currency, you'll still owe your mortgage, credit card, and college tuition. The big difference is that those dollars will now be worth mere pennies. You see that? So this is what will happen if the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency. your the dollars you have in your bank account, the dollars you have in your wallet will be worth mere pennies. The big difference is that those dollars will be worth mere pennies. It will be 2, 3, or even 10 times as hard to pay for anything. You see that? That includes food, water, shelter. Which, what is shelter? That's your home, right? So it'd be 2 to 3 times or even 10 times harder to pay for rent, bills, internet. You see that? You know, food, water, etc., etc. And this is what the so-called elites want, because they know that by devaluating the dollar, that inevitably the dollar will be worth mere pennies. And when that happens, it's going to spark chaos. People are going to riot. They're going to protest. They're going to rally. People is going to get violent. The crime rate is going to go up. Because if your dollar is worth mere pennies, imagine spending $100 for 5 items at a grocery store. I mean, hell, it's almost like that already. At least at our grocery store, okay, for a big pack of beef sausages, it's literally almost $20. So if I was to buy 5 packs of those, that would be $100, easy. But that's for a big pack of beef sausages. I believe it comes with like 20 sausages in the packages. But when I first moved down here to Niagara Falls, a big pack of beef sausages like that used to be $7.99. That was back in the year 2014 when I first moved down here. That was back in 2014. Yeah. You could literally get a big pack of beef sausages. You get like 20 per pack, 20 sausages per pack, right? They literally used to be $7.99. But you look at the price on them things now, and it's almost $20. That should tell you what time we're living in and the state that the dollar is in. But that's for a big pack of beef sausages. Imagine spending $100 for 3 packs of bologna. 3 packs of bologna. Bologna now is what? $3.45? Imagine the dollars in your pocket being worth mere pennies, and you're spending over $100 for 3 packs of bologna. That should give you a good idea of where this dollar is heading. You know, which this is a really good answer right here. That's a really good answer. Let's go to the KingJamesBible.org and let's type in Ezekiel, because what we're reading about here is actually biblical prophecy, and I'm about to show you right now. Because there's prophecies in the Old Testament that have not happened but will happen. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 17. Son of man. Excuse me, I went to the wrong chapter and the wrong verse. Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19. Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold. Now your gold and your silver is a representation or a metaphor for what? Your greenbacks, the dollars you have in your bank account, the dollars you have in your wallet, whatever dollars you might have in savings. You know, your gold and your silver is a metaphor for the currency that you use to buy and sell. Okay, so they shall cast their silver in the streets. So in other words, in the future, in the near future, people is going to cast their silver, meaning they're going to cast their money in the streets. And to show you that the so-called elites know the scriptures, they show you that in that movie I Am Legend. Okay, in the movie I Am Legend, there was a scene where Will Smith was walking through, he was walking in the city, right? And as he was walking in the city, he looked at the ground, and what did he see? He saw money, he saw piles upon piles upon piles of money just lying around in the streets, which indicated what? People was tossing their money in the streets. Why? Because at that point, their money was worthless. If your dollars are worth mere pennies, what can you do with that? Who's willing to spend over $100 for 3 packs of bologna? You know, you're spending $75 for 4 loaves of bread. In order to buy 4 loaves of bread, that's over $100. So you see where this is going, right? So people's gonna throw their money in the streets, because at that point the dollar is gonna have about the same amount of value as toilet paper. I mean, even camp wood that you use to burn, that you use to light on fire to stay warm in the wintertime is going to have more value than $1. So people's going to cast their money in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Now, what I would like to do is go to google.com and let's type in Bible GNT. They shall cast their silver in the streets. Bible GNT. New Century Version. Okay. So check this out. This is the NCV, the New Century Version. Ezekiel 7 verse 19. The people will throw their silver into the streets. You see that? And their gold will be like trash. Now again, gold is not trash, okay? Okay, and a matter of fact, real money is actually gold and silver. Okay, and the proof of that is silver. Silver is a representation of the moon, you know. Cause if you look at the moon very, 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 very closely, it kind of does resemble a silverish color, even though it appears white or you know, like a grayish white color up in the sky. Okay, and then gold. Gold is the color of amber, right? Well, that's the color of the sun. The sun is the color of amber. So gold is gold is supposed to represent the sun, and silver is supposed to represent the moon. You know, so that's where you get money comes from the word moony, moony, right? Like you got moon, then you got knee as in what? Sunny, moony. The sun and the moon. So real money is actually gold and silver. I mean, if that makes sense. So gold is not trash. But I tell you what's trash. The petrodollars inside your wallet, that is trash. Okay? So in other words, what Ezekiel 7 verse 19 is saying is that the so-called money, the dollars that people have in their bank accounts or in their wallets, will be like trash. And because it will be like trash, it's going to be what? It's going to be thrown into the streets. Okay? When you walk through the ghettos, when you walk through the slums, what do you predominantly see in the grass and on the sidewalks and in the streets? You see trash, right? Well, that's how people's going to treat this money. That's how people's going to treat, these U.S. These FRN notes, these Federal Reserve notes. People's going to treat it like trash because it's going to be worth mere pennies. Okay, their silver and gold will not save them from the Lord's anger. It will not satisfy their hunger, nor fill their stomachs. You see that? Because it caused them to fall into sin. Man, that's very clear, okay? And that's in the NCV, okay? That's in the NCV right there. And their gold will seem unclean. The silver and gold cannot save them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. So maybe I can ask the brother Manak Zakba from South Carolina where he get his GNT from. But I wouldn't mind reading from the NCV as well. The NCV, this was a pretty good translation from the NCV. But the point pretty much has been made. With that, I'm gonna say shalom. It's on to the next one.